Nothing that can stop anybody in this room from filing a petition with the FCC that says, let's just change this. This is ridiculous. Of course, there are several, Verizon and AT&T and Quest would, of course, go apoplectic at the same time. But if you want to create value in phone numbers, the first thing you want to do is make them as portable as domain names are, which is I can change who hosts my website, who hosts my email. I can actually change the registrar for a domain name one way or the other. And the other aspect of phone numbers that we have to consider is they will continue to erode in value if you don't actually make services available on them. And obviously, as the chairman of the SIPForum, I've been preaching to both my membership and wherever someone will give me a microphone, that things like HD voice, and particularly point-to-point video, are where both service providers and the industry can create new kinds of value. Certainly, we've seen Apple go to the marketplace with Facetime. And Facetime, they are marketing with about $125 million a quarter for a point-to-point video application on mobile. Not talking about interoperating with landline or anything else like that. But that's the classic kinds of things that the kind of peering technologies, whether it be ENUM, SIP redirect, or whatever, could ultimately enable and actually create value. And by creating value, let's be blunt about this. Can we actually get $1 or $2 more ARPU from the customer to enable these applications? And I would certainly argue that the answer is yes. I think there's been some recent market survey research that says, yes, if I could have interoperable point-to-point video from my mobile device to a desktop, from a desktop to a television set, back and forth using simple E164 numbering, people would actually want to pay more money for that. And what we all know in this industry, and I'll talk about it a little bit later, is the telecom industry, whether we like it or not, is slightly dysfunctional in the sense that the revenue, the aggregate revenue in the telecom industry has been relatively flat now for several years. And average revenue per user for voice has been declining approximately 2 to 3% over the last 5 years. And this goes across the board. Obviously we've seen landline losses. That has been 8% per year for the last 5 years. But now we're starting to see, especially in the United Kingdom, I looked at the last, statistics from Ofcom. Basically, you're seeing 3% decline in average revenue per user on voice in mobile because we now have market saturation. That's one of the untold stories really coming forward here one way or the other, which is we have market saturation in mobile. And when you have market saturation, you will have competition. When you have competition, you will have declining revenue. And even the cable operators, who have been extremely successful in landline operations one way or the other, for the first time in history, had a net drop in video subscribers. The recession has finally cut into cable operators' revenue on their principal product, which is premium video and video itself. People are actually cutting the cord. So if we are going to continue to create value in the industry one way or the other, we need to be able to use the tools we've got, and E164 numbers are certainly part of that one way or the other. So the other issues in terms of regulatory is who actually gets phone numbers. Let's be blunt. Typically phone numbers have been organized by the classic service providers one way or the other. The only people that can get phone numbers are carriers, and only within certain geographically defined areas, rate centers. They can be only ported through a process which they designed, et cetera, et cetera. If you want to actually change things, you actually have to get involved, and unfortunately, that happens to be Washington, D.C. And so, irrespective of what any of your particular business models are, one way or the other, what I've been arguing to certainly my clients, who are large carriers as well, is add value to what you've got. And even Skype. Look at their revenues. It's easy to pull down their S1 filing from the Securities and Exchange Commission. 85% of Skype's revenue is Skype in and Skype out, and that's phone numbers. they are just as dependent upon phone numbers for their revenue model as is a traditional telecommunications carrier. So these are just a couple of thoughts I want to throw out there, and I'll certainly answer any of your questions, you know, one way or the other here. But you know, the idea for peering is we need to do something better. Better than traditional G711 voice for landline, something better than G729 voice for mobile. I believe, you know, that the modern peering technologies that are out there, whether it be ENUM, other database technologies, SIP redirect, can actually add value, increase revenue, make everybody happy, things one way or the other. So I'm happy to take any of your questions that you might like.